Okay, thanks, Martin. Okay, welcome everyone. How many of you are the new users of Spot? Never used it before? Raise hands. Oh,
only one?
Oh, I thought there were 4 users, 4 participants who hadn't used Spot before. Okay. Anyway, before point of order, does anyone object to us recording this session?
No.
Because you may want to have it later. And so if you want to, you can record it also yourself. I'll have to give you permission to do so. Does anyone want to record it himself? No?
No.
You can always request it from us later and we'll send it to you, right? Okay, because there's privacy issues involved as well. And okay. As announced, we'll start by giving a sort of basic course in Spot, first half hour, for those who are really new to the program. I'm now starting it up. So what I'll do is I'll share my Spot screen with you, and then you can see what I'm doing. Just a minute, share screen. Right. If it's correct, you'll now see my, no, sorry, you see my, this is my Spot screen, right? Can everybody see this?
Your email.
Oh, I only see your email.
Not anymore now. Do you see a Spot screen or email?
Yeah. Email.
Oh God, don't read it. Back. And now?
Still email.
This is ridiculous.
I'm still just seeing the video. Hang on. Here.
Start again. Where are my? Resume share. No. I'll just close this. Okay. Just a minute. Share screen. And I'm not going to share this one. This is better?
That's better.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see your screen now. Yeah.
Right. So this is Spot, as you know, probably. Okay, the first thing, I have no idea how little or how much you know, so I'll just go along, and if there anything you don't understand, just interrupt, okay? This is Spot's main screen. This is where you input your subtitles. This is where you display your video. You do this by opening a video, and in my case, the recent one is this. So then you have your video on the right here, and you open an existing subtitle file or start a new one with file, right? Now a few things that are handy is to set a few options. So you go to Tools, Options. Does everybody see the options screen?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't.
Here? Better?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing you may want to do is specify a folder on your computer where you will save your subtitles, right? So you have one space for your subtitles, subtitle files, right? Okay. Here are a few settings that, you know, are like load last used file on startup. You can check that. It's easy if you're working on a file. and it automatically opens. Then on the other tab, you see the backups and auto recover. This is important because you don't want to lose your work, so make sure you have these things checked. And specify a backup folder. You may even want to choose to put this on an external hard disk or even on your cloud service, whatever you have, so you don't lose anything if your computer crashes, right? Okay. Under parameters is where you set your general settings. It's all pretty self-explanatory, and you know it varies per country or whatever. So, but you can set your defaults here. Checks are things that Spot checks for if you run a check. These are options for text editing. This is an important settings for how it depends on how you wish to spot a file. There are many ways to do spotting, and it depends on the settings here how this works. We'll go into that later. Files are just settings for files. It's all under customize. You can change the colors of your various, how your screen looks. For instance, I have, as you can see, I have green as the as okay or too long. And if I would make a subtitle that is way too short in time, this bar would turn red. Media preferences. Oh, here we go again. Hey, wait a minute. Okay. Here you specify, if you like, one folder where you store all your videos. But that's, you know, it's up to you how you want to organize this. I'd like to have them in one place, so I don't have to look where I save them. There are some options here. They all are pretty self-explanatory. Yep. Media control. This is something I'll discuss later in the subject of spotting. But there are some things you can set here. This is an important one. You probably want this one checked, because otherwise you have to use two keys to grab cues, and one key is easier. Okay, these are settings for the timeline. Peter will explain more about that later. Tools. Yeah, it's also pretty advanced later. This was one of the questions put to us before by someone about the audio scrub, what it is. It just means that if you shuttle frame by frame, you hear the audio go, which is something that dates back from the time when you only had audio to go by, and now we have a waveform these days. That's why it's deprecated, but it still works, and most people like to have it on. Okay, those were beginning with various options. Okay, so you open the video and you start a new file or work on an existing file. Now, an important thing is that you can see here that there's a time code here. Normally it will start on all zeros, but as this is an excerpt from a larger movie, it's somewhere in minute 10. And it is important that this corresponds to Spot's internal clock. If you don't have a vid code, then you can assume that the client wants it to start at all zeros. But what you do, you have to synchronize these two. So here's a button set offset timecode. And where does it appear? Hey. It's all the way here, Jesus. Right, here we go. So you see these match, because I've already set it. But if this would be a different number, then in rehearse mode, your subtitles would not be in sync with the video, right? So always make sure that these two are the same. Okay. Here are the controls for the video. I don't know how many people use this. I never do. I always use the numeric keypad. It's just my hand. So if you press 5, it'll play. Pause, play, pause. And I push 6, 1 frame forward. 4 is 1 frame backwards. Those were the settings in media preferences, as you recall. You see, that's what you said. Numeric 5 is play, pause, rewind, fast forward. Okay. I might as well explain right away what I've done here. These are all default settings, you know, fast forward, replay. But the 2 button is interesting for cutting, for spotting. Because you see, I've put the replay length on 3 frames, which is basically the number of frames I want the subtitle to start before the audio. And I check jump back only. Now what this means is that if I'm in the video somewhere, let's say I want my subtitle to start at, I hear the audio here, then I just push 2, it jumps back 3 frames, I hit enter, I got my in cue. It's a handy trick. Of course, if you can change the value of the number of frames to jump back depending on your needs and client wishes or whatever. Okay. It's very hard for me to think of what basics are and what more advanced features are. Peter, am I forgetting anything at the moment?
Well, is everybody? There's only one person that hasn't used Spot before. So do you have experience with other subtitling software? Is it? I think it's Maria. Or yeah.
Yes, WinCap's Quantum 4.
Okay, so you know all about queuing and stuff like that. So we can just assume everybody knows how to queue a subtitle, right?
Okay. Right.
So yeah, I think this suffices as an introduction, don't you think, Leo? Maybe if there are any questions, or does anybody have any questions about this? No, I don't think so.
Okay. Right. Then. Okay. So how do we proceed? There's no question at the moment. So Peter, you want to take over?
Yeah. I'll take over. So if you can.
Yeah. Let me give you the. Peter Moore. I'll make you. Yes. Now you're the host.
Okay. So hang on.
I have to stop sharing my screen, otherwise you can't share yours. Wait a minute. Stop share. Yeah. Okay.
Hang on.
It's all yours.
Okay, I'll share my screen. There we go. Okay, I'll just move this out of the way. Let's go here. So can you all see my screen now?
Yep.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
good. There was a question about K-Lite, introducing K-Lite, which is lots of codecs. I'll just show you how to install that. You might never need that, but if you download it and install it, it provides you with lots of codecs, which will give you a bigger range of clips and audio and video that Spot will then support. So if you go to help and then download Klite codec pack. It will open a website, and you'll see a few different options here: basic, standard, and full. You want to download the full package, so you just click it, and then there's either server 1 or server 2. You just click it and download the codec pack to your computer. I've already done that, so I won't do it again. I'll just cancel it, and it's here in my downloads folder. I'll click it. And just give permission, Windows permission to install it. Basically, you can just click on next all the time, except for one exception. I'll just click normal, next, next, everything just next, next, audio configuration, next. And now there's some, it wants to sneakily insert a piece of software, add some adware. I don't think it's malicious stuff, but this is one example. So if you see this or any other piece of software it wants to install, just decline it. Decline, and then it goes on with the Klite codec pack again. Install, and it will install Klite on your computer. You might have to restart your PC to use all its functionality, but you know. There you go. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'll just say finish, and you're away. It has installed Klite. So, you know, it'll come in handy with some videos and audio codecs. Let's go on and discuss some other features, like let's start with shortcut detection. Have you used shortcut detection before? It's an easy way to queue or spot a file on the, based on the shortcuts that Spot detects. So if it's not already open, you just click on the waveform here at the top of the Spot screen. Open the waveform. You see this. Well, you don't see the vertical lines here because I already ran the shortcut detection, but I'll run it again. I click on the 3 dots here at the bottom of the screen. Oh, sorry about this. There's 3 dots here in the timeline. I click on it and press Find Shortcuts, and then you see at the bottom here it starts generating shortcuts. I'm going to cancel it now, but it will take too long, and I already have them. Well, it'll just run. I'll just cancel it. I'll click to cancel. Yeah. What you want to do is generally click it again, and then afterwards process audio data. It cannot be, yeah, because I canceled it anyway. I'll just click it again. These shortcuts are a good way of queuing your file. So I'll just see if I can find an example here in the video. I'll have this already. This turned on, sync video to subtitles. Let's say, for instance, my audio is very weak. Very, you can hardly hear it. Can you hear my audio?
Yep.
You have to switch on the share computer audio, Peter?
I think I did,
Oh.
but
I can hear it.
okay. Well, anyway. Okay, so if you see, I'll run the video, and then you see, you find a shortcut here, and spot indicated on the screen. What you do, you can press the on the numeric pad. You can press the 1 and the 3 key to jump to shortcuts. If you press 1, you'll jump back to the previous shortcut. If you press 3, you'll jump to the next one. In this case, well, let's just go to another one, like this one, for example.
I'm not going nowhere.
I'm not going nowhere. You see, I passed the shortcut. Suppose I want to have my IQ on the shortcut. I'll just press 1, and you see here at the bottom, you see the line jumping to the shortcut. The only thing I have to do now is press the IQ key, and then hey, presto, it's on the shortcut. And so you can run and go through the file this way. By, of course, you already see titles here, subtitles here. But if you're translating, there's you'll notice where there's a shortcut. You'll jump to the shortcut, press enter. Or the thing is, the best thing is, even if there's another subtitle following it, you can press Control and the Enter key. Then you make a new in queue and automatically chain the old out queue to the in queue. So if you suppose you're in this title, bitch title, I'm pressing 1, jumping to the shortcut. And then instead of pressing just the Enter key for an in queue, I'll press Control, Enter, and then you'll see the out queue from the previous subtitle. It's now 3906. You see it was chained to this out queue, and with the default interval. And the default interval, in this case, is set in profile settings, and that's 3. So yeah, that's basically how it works. You can go to the media settings. Hang on, I'll just process audio data as well. You'll see Spot running, processing the audio data here in the left corner.
Maybe switch it to stereos more.
I can switch it to stereo. That's
Waveform view.
That's
Waveform view.
Yes. Okay, so it's easier visible. Well, if you go to media preferences, you can adjust your timeline here. So it says the percentage of the main window, the things you want to see, the shortcuts you want to show, the color that you want to have.
Turn on the view meters. This is also interesting.
Sorry?
Show view meters.
Oh, I already I never turned that on, but
Oh, I always have.
okay. I don't see any difference now, but
Well, if you start the video, you'll see.
I think I'll turn it off.
There they are.
Oh yeah. Okay, you can see it here down in the bottom right corner. Okay, well, that's an easy way to visually show the shortcuts and a way to queue or spot your file. So just press the 1 and the 3 key to jump to the shortcuts, make an out queue or an in queue, and then go on to the next subtitle.
In this respect, there was a question, and we can do that right away, about sometimes your shortcuts are not in the right place. There's a difference of a few frames. Somebody asked about that.
Yeah, that's right. So depending on the video, I'm not sure what happens there in something internally, I don't know. But sometimes the shortcuts can be lagging one or 2 frames or just be ahead. you can shift a shortcut data. It says you can just click here on the 3 dots again. It says shift shortcut data, and you can specify if you want to shift up or down and by how many frames. So yeah, so you can, if you want to, if you need to do that, you can do it here. There's also a shortcut key for, oh, I think I just did it. If you press the Alt key and 4 or 6, maybe you, if I press it repeatedly, you can probably see now there shortcuts are shifting. That's just by 1 up or down. Yeah, so that's basically what shortcut detection is about. Does anyone have a question about this? No?
Quick students, all of them.
Yeah, they all know it. Related to this is what I already showed you on the time in the media preferences window. You can show the subtitles. They all are visible here. That's also very easy to navigate around the file. You can click properties here to adjust the properties of the the timeline. But basically, you can leave them as they are. Yeah. Okay.
I don't have any questions about the queuing because I use a totally different method to queue the files. I use the what's it called now?
On the fly.
Yeah, the rehearse.
Yeah.
Mode, and then I push the space but the bar to enter the codes.
Okay. Yeah, that's yeah. I don't have any experience with that, but yeah, it's if you're good at that, you can quickly spot a whole file.
That's why I don't have any questions about this method. So
no. Okay.
What you could do is, even after when you've spotted a file like this, it will not be very accurate. So you may want certain subtitles to appear at the shortcut.
Right.
So you can then use, when you check your file, you can use this method to see if there's anything, that needs fine-tuning.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Related to that, I can show you how snap to shortcuts works, because that if you spot a file like that, it can be just a little bit out of sync occasionally. So if you want to queue it on the shortcuts, you can go to queues, snap to shortcuts, and then you can
whole files.
Yeah, choose whether you want to snap the whole file, just the current subtitle, or from subtitle.
Right.
Is subtitle 39, and so you can choose adjust here where you want the ENQ to be. Well, normally you want it on the shortcut, and the OutQ on the default interval before shortcut, and then the snap zone, which is the zones that Spot uses to determine whether cues within this zone have to be on the shortcut or not. So let's say I just put it on 6 frames. Hang on, I'll just try and find, see if I can try and find like say for example, the ENQ is, you can see here down below that the ENQ is not on the shortcut. So if I choose cues, snap to shortcuts, and
Current subtitle then?
use current subtitle, I can do the whole file, but I'll just use current subtitle and press apply now. You can see here down below that the ENQ is snapped to the shortcut. So that's a quick way of, if your file is a bit messy, maybe because you spot it on the fly, or because you have a template that's not particularly good, you can use snap to shortcuts to clean it up, basically.
What is this snap zone exactly? I never used this feature, but
the snap zone, well, it's a bit complicated.
okay.
It's all explained. It's all explained in detail in the user guide, which is accessible by pressing F1, and I would everybody advise to go through that. But especially Netflix has a very complicated guidelines for determining whether a cue should be on the shortcut or 8 frames before or after. I never understand exactly how, but you can the settings, you can adjust the settings and snap to shortcuts to reflect the Netflix guidelines if you want to, and if you don't want to, you can just ignore it. So yeah, that's a handy tool to use. Any questions about that? No? Hang on, let's see. Leo, is there anything you want to explain right now? Let's see. Or do you want me to go to another?
I'm just looking at the question list here.
Yeah, as long as I have the, as I'm the host here and I'm sharing my screen, I can just go on
Sure.
Let's just go on to using punctuation rules. Have you ever tried those before? The punctuation rules, you can indicate them here at the top of the screen, this V shape. Press it, and then you can specify the punctuation rules for a specific profile. So I guess you know, working with profiles, the profiles are here. You can link a specific punctuation rules to a profile. In this case, I have this profile called SBS, and I have a few options selected. Delete extra spaces, so it deletes if there's 2 spaces, it'll just delete 1. Add missing full stops at end of subtitles, which is a handy one to have. And ellipses must have 3 dots at the end of subtitle, which is also a good one. So, so if you just select the options you want to specify here, and then you can press then check now. Well, I have prepared this file with a few errors, so you will see a few errors here as well. You can do a few things. You can either individually restore a subtitle if the error is not correct. You can undo all the whole punctuation check. If you undo it, all the punctuation checks are undone. If you close it, all the punctuation checks are implemented. So I'm not sure if you do want that to happen. Just make sure you save the file before you do a punctuation check, just in case you want to go back to the previous state of the file. But if you see here a full stop added at the end of subtitle, because because there was a full stop missing, so it added a full stop. In this case as well, I had 4 dot ellipses at the end of this subtitle, so it corrected the subtitle. Well, you can just click through the file here if you have sync to video selected. The video syncs with the file, and you can just decide here whether you want to implement the change or not. Like if suppose I want to restore this subtitle, I think, well, there doesn't need to be a period at the end of the line. I can just restore it, and you see here on the left that it has restored the original subtitle.
So any punctuation rules you set are linked to the profile you will have open at that moment?
No, well, you have to. The thing is, you have to. If you set your punctuation rules, make sure you save the profile, because if you don't, they will go back to what they were. So suppose I made a few changes. I'll just save the current profile, redefine it, yes, and now I'm sure and I'm positive that the punctuation rules are linked to this profile. Suppose I choose another profile like this one. If I look at my punctuation rules now, you see they are different. So there's a few more. They're slightly different. So make sure you save the punctuation, the profile if you make a change in the punctuation rules, and yeah, that's how it works. You can, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's basically how punctuation rules work. Any questions about that? Have you used that before? It's a great tool to have because it's so easy to miss a period at the end of a line, or a type 4 periods instead of 3 ellipses. So yeah, it's a great tool to improve your efficiency.
Okay.
All right. Let's well, shall I just go on and let's discuss something else? Let's go to quick view. We had a few questions about that as well. Quick view is also a very handy tool to use in Spot. I think it's unique. I've never seen it in any other software. So if you press F5, it'll give you a list of all the subtitles. And the thing is, you can rearrange the subtitles here, but it doesn't affect the subtitles in the file itself. But suppose you want to, like, say you have there's a few subtitles on a different row. I can click on row at the top. Just click again, and you'll see there's 3 subtitles on row 1. And the great thing about Quick View is that I can now select them and do something with them, whatever I want to. I can italicize them, I can give them an outline, I can change the row. Let's say I want to move them to row 5, for example. You now see that all these subs have been changed to row 5. This is affected in the file itself. So sorting the file like I just did by clicking on row, that is not implemented in a file, but if I just change the formatting, that is implemented. So if I now go to line 39, you can see it's now on line 5 in the middle of the screen. Well, you don't really want that, but still. You can sort on whatever column you want to. So you can sort an outline. I made a few subtitles with ghost stripe outline. I can change that to whatever I want to. I can make it a boxed outline if I need to. You can sort on comments. You can even start the subtitles alphabetically, which may come in handy. You never know.
Yeah, or maybe if you want to check which ones are in italics, you can just read.
Yeah. Sometimes I type an asterisk at the start of the subtitle just to distinguish them from other subtitles. And then if I sort them in Quick View, you have all the subtitles with an asterisk sorted in a row, and then you can just delete them or save them or do whatever you want with them. So yeah, that's a really great tool.
And explain how you can open a second file within Quick View.
Yeah, I can open a second file as read only. So I'll click File, Open as read only, and well, I have a few files here. I have a file called Mary Berry, and it's in Dutch, by the way, but never mind. I can now I can click View. I can list them vertically or horizontally. They are now horizontally aligned. I can list them vertically as well. Suppose I want to move these subtitles to this file. I can just select them and then put them wherever I want to. Like, suppose they come here, and you see that they're just the subs from this file are now put on this in the file on the left. Well, yeah.
Further down. Yeah.
Yeah.
This comes in handy if you have like a series that have always the same first 20 subtitles. You can, open your existing file, copy those right at the beginning of your new file. You don't need to retype them.
Yeah, that's right. You can do sort of the same thing, not really, but with the tabs here. You have the copy and file view tabs here. I'm always a bit confused about these, but suppose I want to, I can then move this. I think I could. Maybe I think I have to select it. Let's just open file view. That's easier. If I now want to select this, I can just move it. I can move it to the comment field here. You see that it pastes in the comment field, or I can move text to the subtitle field and it puts it here, right here. So that's also an easy way of moving a text from a file to another file.
Does this work only with the Spot SPTX files, or does it work for?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. Oh no. Well, you can select. No, you can select other files as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
One remark about that: it's always advised if you're working on a subtitle file, work in SPTX and then later export it to whatever format your client wishes. So you have full functionality of Spot while you're working.
That's right. You can, like in tools options, like Leo showed you, there's in general, there's a few things like load, last, use file on startup, like move to last position on open. That will only work with SPT files or SPTX files, not with pack files or STL files or what have you. So it's if you select that, remember last file open and last file. Oh no, that's something else. Anyway, it's like Leo says, it's best to work with SPTX files. Yeah.
Likewise, if you can hand over the screen to me for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Stop your share.
Let me see where I can stop sharing. Wait, here, stop share. Yep. And now I'm making you host, Leo. Okay, you're host now.
Okay. Share the screen. Let me share this one. Okay. Can everybody see my Spot screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. Likewise, if you sometimes you get a lot of different videos from different clients, and they can give you all kinds of trouble because they're jumping frames, or they're whatever, they don't stay in sync. Or so what I always do is whatever video I get from a client, I go to Tools, Video Converter, and I select Subtitle Friendly AVI. That's a preset, and then you just obviously I've already done that, but and then you just click on Convert, and it'll convert your Windows Media Video or MPEG into a format that you can be sure Spot can work with.
I don't see I don't see that screen, Leo.
Why not?
I don't see it. Does everybody else see the video conversion screen? I don't see it now.
I think it went behind the main screen. I'm guessing that it's behind the main screen.
Now? No.
No.
Now?
No.
That's weird. How come? Wait a minute. Resume share. Let me just stop this share.
Yeah, I'm sorry. A question about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where did you choose that from? The video converter. I didn't.
It's
see
under
that.
tools.
Tools. Okay.
Let me see. This one. If I share this one, that should go. You see my spot screen again?
Yeah. I think it's okay. And now open tools video converter. Try and do that. Oh yeah, there it is. It's behind your main spot screen.
Okay.
Can you minimize your spot? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Can we see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is under Tools Video Converter. This is where you convert your videos. It has another very interesting feature for those of you who wish to deliver subtitled videos to your clients. You can here specify a subtitle file. And then if you convert it, that can be the same format as the original, but doesn't care, then you end up with a copy of your video with subtitles burned into it. And this is, of course, it depends on the quality of the original video you use. But for instance, if a client sends you a huge 4 GB AVI file, and you convert it first to a subtitle-friendly AVI, then you can use the original huge file in this screen to add your subtitles to, and you'll have a high-quality subtitled video that people can just put on their website straight away. So, you know, could come in handy. I don't know about the Finnish situation. Do you all work for television, or do you have private clients or companies as well for this kind of thing?
Yeah, both.
Both. So
Mostly
this enables you to deliver a subtitled video to your clients. It's a bit of a complicated thing, but because you can set a whole lot of options for it. But it's a question of you know, trying it out and see what happens. Because if I put this, for instance, you can specify the font, the size, you do all sorts of things, color, and you can even add, if you have a video with no time code and you want for some reason to add a time code to it, you can just do that here. See, you choose the frame rate, and you simply specify the time, and then it'll add you know, the video time code in your screen at the top.
needs a bit of horsepower though.
Pardon?
From your computer, it needs a bit of horsepower. You need a fairly powerful processor to do that.
Well, I have a run-of-the-mill PC. It works just fine.
Well, my laptop doesn't. Well, it can, but it takes a very long time.
Okay. Yeah, well, but that's okay.
Just to let people know.
Yeah, fine. But it's an option, you know. Many people are not aware of this, but it's a very, you know, may come in handy, commercially speaking.
True.
Okay, so that's the converter. Another thing I forgot to mention, when you, under File, you see an option Link to Video. And this is a nice feature because, you know, normally you work for several days at the same project. And this means that if you link file and you open your subtitle file, it'll automatically open the video that goes with it. It's just a little time-saving thing. Yeah? Okay. Back to you, Peter.
Yeah, I'm just I think we covered most of the things. Did you? Oh yeah, I'm a host again. I'll just share my screen.
Peter, are you recording?
I am recording, yeah.
Oh, because I somehow stopped recording. Good.
Yep. Hang on. Okay, there's another. Do you know all about the tabs here below the edit screen here? Rehearse mode. Well, it's pretty obvious, I guess. But you can use the report mode, which is a great way to check the errors in your file. In this case, there are erased subtitles in the file. There's a tab here as well called statistics. Well, I don't think you will really need that, but just in case.
If I may make one comment on that.
Yeah.
What is interesting in this, because it gives you all sorts of figures, like the number of words. So it's a depressing exercise, but now you can calculate exactly how much you get for a word.
Okay, well,
not much in subtitling, I can assure you, compared to regular translation work. So you may not want to do that.
You should be able to add your translation rate in here somewhere, and then you'll calculate how much you make per word. You can also click on references, which is sort of a nice feature. Suppose you want to find how many instances of the word "you" are in the file. Just select it and then find all references, and it just lists all the titles that have the word "you" in it, which is a nice feature. If you didn't know it, even if you do know it.
Yeah, if you think you're using a particular word too often, you may want to look into this and change it here and there. Use a synonym. Yeah.
Right. Something sort of related to this maybe is that we had a question about the target version lists, which was introduced not very long ago. Click on Tools, Target Version Lists, and I just made a very short target version list here for just to show you how it works. You can open a list, save a list, or open a new list. In this case, I have made this list with a few words. I can now, I have this file. Suppose you have a client that doesn't want you to use swear words, or doesn't want you to use the word "yeah," for instance. I don't know why, but anyway. I can now press Find Now, and it will jump to the first subtitle it finds with one of these words in it. In this case, it's "yeah," and I can now choose, wanted to replace it with "yes," "no," or I can just cancel the whole operation. I'll just press "no" here. No. Okay, well, yes, no, fuck. Replace fuck with "true." Well, no. No. Okay. Yes. No. Okay. And okay. Cancel. I've had enough. So that's how it works. So, for instance, I work with Flemish clients as well, and they have different. Flemish is like Dutch, but they have slightly different words and phrases. So sometimes you have to sort of clean the file, or they want you to avoid some words that we use here in the Netherlands and they don't use in Belgium. So that's a good way of going through the file and finding those words that they don't want you to use, but you can use it for swear words or whatever you want to use it for. So, okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, anything else?
Maya wanted to know where she can find the slow motion. That's just on your numeric keypad with the plus and minus keys. And then you see in the bottom right hand, there you see now it's on 100%. If it pushes.
It says here 100%. You can click this and select it, but you can, or you can just use your numeric keypad and use the plus or the minus key. And I use plus, and you see it changes to 110. Plastic.
Okay, that's good.
Press it
Thanks.
repeatedly.
There you go, young badass. I'll get you when you can't.
And now it's changed into Donald Duck. Okay, we'll just go back
Donald Duck.
and just go slower.
Alright. Think I'm walking wrong.
Yeah, okay, well,
Much better.
yeah, a lot better. Yeah.
Drunk version.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the questions. Let's see. Does anybody have any other questions, or maybe we could just, if is there anything you want to know, we could just show you.
I've been wondering about the script manager.
Oh yeah. We were too, so we went through it yesterday. It's actually a thing that Mark once made, and he stopped developing it. It's what it does is you can, if you want to prepare, you could actually, if you look at the user guide, he explains what it's for, and I don't think anyone has ever used it. But you can define characters and then give them text, and then export, and you even give them a time code and maybe then export it to a subtitle file. And
Okay.
I can't see any use for it actually, but
Maybe screenwriting or something.
yeah, something.
Yeah.
Or yeah, he says something about it in the user guide. You could just try it out. It's
Yep. I'll play around with it.
yeah, it's sort of similar to the notepad function in Spot. And that is handy for if you have to make a voiceover translation.
Yeah, I can show you here. If you click Notes here down below, it opens this window.
And that's
And
the
now
one.
if I can just now, you can select here insert timecode is the Alt key and the insert key, and you can choose a timecode format here. So if you want to change it to whatever you want to, you can change it here. But if I now press Alt insert, it just copies the timecode of the current timecode, and I can now type whatever I want to, and run the video, press Alt insert again, and hey presto, it's another timecode. And we here in the Netherlands, we use that for voiceover translations. So somebody who
Question.
yeah.
Where did you find that?
Just,
Notes.
Just,
Okay.
down here. So there's a few tabs down here.
Yeah.
That's the other tab.
Edit.
And the Notes tab. I think it's actually Control K is a shortcut for that. Yeah, it is. So you can just open it by pressing Control K.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Yeah.
It's different from how it used to be. There used to be 2 timecode bars in the, and you can just plug it from there.
Yeah.
Just change over the app, use it for. Sorry, Pekka?
Marco seems to have a question in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, Marco. Chat. Where's the chat?
Yeah, it's gone.
Well, I'm also here, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah. Please interrupt us. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I had a question about the in times and out times there in the notes that you showed us just there. What did you use to catch the in times and out times?
Yeah, I'll show you again. So you click on the Notes tab, and then you it says here, right? It says here at the top of the screen here. You see my cursor? There's a green arrow. If you click it, it says here the shortcut for it. It's the Alt plus insert, and that's the insert key on your numpad. So not the other one.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
And then you can, if you want to save the file, you can save it as actually this. I've experimented with this, and this does not really work the way I wanted to. But Yeah, you can save it and you can do something with it. Well, you can save it as a text file, but if you want to import it later on again, there's a few hassles there. But I don't know. It will probably be fixed in the next update. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Maya asks about the default left alignment. Well, that's pretty obvious.
In edit mode, you mean?
Edit mode, yeah.
Yeah, default is.
Well, I meant default when you start a file, because I have to every time change from middle to left.
Yeah, but you only have to do that once, right? You should
Yeah.
just, yeah, okay, yeah. I don't think there's an option for that. No.
Of course there is. I mean, if you have in quick view, you can change the alignment of an existing file, right? But if you start a new file, if you put the first subtitle on left alignment, then the rest will follow.
Yeah, okay, but there's no way to start a file, a clean file with no subtitles in it with left aligned. It's always center aligned.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But that only means you have to press the F2 key a few times. 1, 2, 3, and there you go. It's left aligned.
Yeah.
I think mine is always left aligned when I start.
Is it?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what
come.
I've done before to earn that luxury.
Okay, well, maybe there's a hidden option somewhere I haven't found yet. So, but keep us informed. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you might be right. Actually,
Good with a profile. If you save it that way, and then it starts it always on the.
Could be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Could
Yeah,
be.
perhaps it's that. I have a tiny small question about offsetting the time.
You're chopping up.
Offsetting the time code. Is there a shortcut to that, or do you have to use the mouse?
No, you can just use Control J.
Control J.
Control J key. So if you press that, you get this, and you can do all sorts of things here.
Yeah, I know, but when you open the video file and you start a new project.
You mean like the offset time? This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is shortcut. I think it's Alt F8 actually. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Most of
tiny thing, but still.
No, yeah, still, it's these tiny things that make life a lot easier. If you go to the user guide, which you can access by pressing F1, you'll see the list of all the shortcut keys in Spot, which is good to go through. There's quite a lot, and well, just if you just select the ones you really need and memorize them, they make your life a lot easier. Yeah. Yeah, try and avoid clicking with the mouse or select using these key buttons here, like for instance splitting a subtitle. Just press F8, and merging is a control F8, and merging is Control F7. Just maybe you already do that, but if you don't, please, yeah.
I always use a mix of shortcuts and mouse. You sort of develop a routine that suits your way of working best. Some people hate the mouse, others love the mouse. Yeah.
Right.
Both options are there for most functions.
Yeah, but still, you want to use Control F7 to merge files. Like, see. Come on, go back. You don't want to go in here and just choose either one of these. I'm not even sure which one I have to use.
The best one is splurge, split and merge. Nice word, splurge. I think there's even a shortcut for that.
Okay, are there any other questions I think you would like to made more explicit? I
think this might be more like a personal problem, but every time I launch Spot, it says that it cannot connect to server.
Yeah, okay.
What does it mean even?
Yeah, that was introduced because they changed the update thingy somehow, and that caused everybody to get the message. So what you do is just go to Tools, Options, and then in the General tab, down at the bottom it says Do not check for updates at startup. If you click that, if you select that, it will not check for updates and it will not give you the error.
Okay, thank you.
And as soon as that is implemented, you have to switch it on again, because ideally you will want to, like most programs, you will want to be able to update on the fly and not be bothered with uninstalling and all that thing. But it's not yet implemented. So as long as that's the case, you better have this checked so you won't get the error message. Yeah.
Always check this box as well, enable full undo. Otherwise you won't, it will only use undo in the current subtitle and will not undo all the other things you did before.
Is everyone familiar with the quick options button? It's
I'm not sure what you mean by that. Quick options.
Tools, quick
yeah.
options. You can quickly set the most commonly.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
So you don't have to go to tools and all the tabs. You can just quickly do it here.
I know that, but does everyone know it?
Now they do.
Okay, well, there's a few other things that you probably find interesting, like you can export a file to several ways or convert them. So multi-format export. You can export a file to various other formats at the same time. I think you need to use an SPTX file. But anyway, you just select the files you want to export to, and then click on OK, and you get several files at the same time. Just ignore it now. And there's also the quick batch convert. So if you have a whole list of files that you want to convert to another format to, then you can do that here. You just add the files. I think you need Spot files, or you can choose pack files. Or you can choose subrip SRT files as well. Anyway, just suppose I can select these files, open. You see them selected here, and now I can. Suppose I want to export them to screen subtitling pack files. I can do so by clicking OK, and then they have been converted. I'm not sure whether. Oh yeah, they've been put here. So yeah, you see, these are the converted files. I'll just delete them. So that's a nice feature to have.
Another handy feature, we're going sort of helter-skelter through it, but Peter can demonstrate. If you go to Subtitle, Comments, you have options, and one interesting option is swap comments and subtitle fields.
Right.
Suppose you get a subtitle file in another language, right? And you have to do it in Finnish. Then if you click Swap Comments and Subtitle Fields, which Peter will now do, you see that the original titles go into your comment fields. So you have a sort of like a script or whatever you want to call it that you can use to translate without having to type over the current subtitle.
Yeah, and
come in handy.
The comments have now been swapped to the edit area. You can also use copy subtitles to comment field, and then it will just copy the subtitles and add them to any comments that are in the comment field. Yeah, well, the whole manage comments window is very interesting because you can just select all these titles by pressing Ctrl A and then copy them into into whatever you want to, like an email or Notepad or Word.
And this can come in handy. Suppose you have to deliver a file and you really want to, add some remarks to the client, and you can just make those remarks in the comments fields and then later export them to Word or whatever, and you have your basically you have your letter ready. Okay.
Okay, but maybe about backups. Leo already showed you. Sorry, how to make backups, but you can just show you again. The default directory of this is in your documents folder, so you can just click here and go to the specific file, or you can just go to Documents, Spot software, and then you find the backups folder as well, which is slightly easier than going through Spot. And so, like, say, for example, the file Mary Berry, it made lots of backups for that, and you can just choose the most recent one, or whatever, whichever one you think you want, and just well, if you double click it, it will open another Spot window.
Yes, depending on your settings, you see all these backup files that Spot makes every 15 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever you set. So they can really come to a very long list. So every once in a while, you may want to clean up these.
Yeah, there are only 180 kilobytes, so it's not so big. But
well, it adds up, Peter. It adds up.
It all adds up. You can. Oh no, I don't want to. I don't want. View, restore, or delete the contents. So if you click this, you go to like you can here click the individual files and scroll through them and see whichever one you want to restore. For example, this maybe you want to have this one, then you can restore the file here straight from the Spot from Spot instead of going through to the Explorer and double clicking there. So whichever way you think it's easiest, or you can just select.
I just noticed in my own setup that suddenly my backup folder was no longer on my external USB disk. And so probably if you install a new version of Spot, it overwrites your backup location. So you may want to check that every time you do a reinstall of Spot, that it's still, pointing to the right directory. It seems to overwrite your setting.
You can even here check this box if you want to delete the backup folder automatically after a specific number of days. But I never do that. You never know. Yeah, I'll set it to 5 minutes because if you set it to 15, you'll lose 15 minutes of work in the worst case.
Agreed.
That's logic. I work very slow. I don't do much in 15 minutes.
There's also an option that I use occasionally. It's called dual language subtitles. Dual language subtitles, and you can delete line 1 or line 2. So, for instance, we have for the Belgian market, we have the first line is Dutch and the second line is French, and then you can just delete one of the languages and just keep the other one and do all sorts of things with them. You can even split it into 2 new files. So if I do this now, we'll just, it has made, you can see here that it has made 2 different files, language 1 and language 2.
And it's basically line 1 and line 2, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's it. I think it just keeps the original spotting,
Does it work the other way around?
What do you mean?
No, suppose you have a French and an English file, and you want to make one file
To
with
merge
both
them.
languages.
I don't think. No, I don't think that. No, you can't.
That would be more handy. Well,
can you use the merge function then? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
You can. What you can do is file merge, and then you can do this. Use text as subtitles. So
yeah, but that just adds them.
no, well, yeah. I selected. I just opened language 1. I'm just trying to open language. Oh, it wants to delete existing text in the current file. Okay, that's no use. It's no good. No. Text and append to subtitles. Yeah, that's it, I guess. So language 2. Oh, you see, it adds language 2 to language 1, and you get what they will ask for.
Oh yeah, does it?
Although it's the other way around now. The second line is at the top, but you just
basically. Oh.
Yeah, so you can do that.
What did you do exactly?
I used file merge. So you just
file merge.
You can. In this case, I used text and append to subtitles. The existing subtitles, the text you import, which is an SPT file, SPTX file, is appended to the existing subtitles. You can also put it in the comment field.
And it puts it automatically on the other line.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice feature. Yeah. Great.
Only for Belgian users.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we covered most of the things. Let me see. What about auto replace window? Leo, do you want to take that?
Sure.
Or you want me to do it?
Well, just you do it. It's
okay. Right. The auto replace feature is a very useful tool. It's a tools auto replace, and I open it. I have a very, very long list of Dutch words in here, thousands and thousands. You can just add your own words. You add a word here and replace and add here the word you want to replace it with.
All those words you always mistype, you can add here and automatically correct them as you type.
You can also make shortcuts, like for instance the Dutch word for maybe is misschien, which I made a shortcut for MSS. If I now press spacebar, you see it adds it to this word. So if you have these long Finnish words, your language is famous for, you can just use a shortcut for that and add it to auto replace. So it's not just for typing in typos and typing errors, but it's also for shortcuts you might want to use.
Yeah, and it's handy for temporary things also. Suppose you're doing a documentary about the assassination of Kennedy. You can just add JFK to your auto replace and it'll automatically say John Fitzgerald Kennedy every time you want to use that.
That's right.
The point is, if you want to use JFK, you got a problem.
Yeah, that's right. The file, I can just show you the file is basically just a text file. If you go to Explorer in Windows, just Windows Explorer, and click on View and click Hidden Items, check this box. Then if you then go to your C drive, hang on, just go to users. In this case, my name it's not really with that many R's, but anyway. Go to app data, go to roaming, and spot software. Don't worry, you can just have a look at the video later on. And you see there's lots of files here that Spot uses. And there's also a file called autoreplace.dat. If I selected a notepad as a default file viewer for that, I'll just click it. And you see that all the files is just basically a text file. So you can just use you can just make a text file, put all the words in it, save it as autoreplace.dat and put it in this folder. And if you then start spots, it has you have a new autoreplace. So instead of adding all the words manually, you can try and use this way of adding words.
I suppose there's a tab between the entries.
There's a tab, yeah. Just use a tab between all the.
One tab, yeah.
Yeah. There's lots of other things, let's say, like your profiles, which also is nice to save that, because if you want to install Spot on another computer, you can just copy the profiles.dat file back to this folder, and then you have all your original profiles again. So if I can show you here, I have loads of profiles. You don't want to add them manually each time you want to have to reinstall Spot on a different computer. On your computer, if you update Spot, it will just remember all the settings. But on a new computer, it doesn't. And yeah, that's just a way of saving all your profiles and maybe other settings as well. You can just copy all the settings and just paste them back in this folder, and away you go.
Related to this, there's also, for each video Spot opens, it creates a number of files that contain data about that video. Your time codes, the audio, and the frame rate. Now, sometimes videos are mixed up and you can't get them right anymore. Then one way to make sure they're clean again is by deleting those files. Maybe Peter can show in his video folder the files associated with Goldie.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you see the Goldie. This is the video file. This one, and you see all these files that they have the same name as the video, and then Spot adds another thing.
Yes, the frame rate, the audio, the shortcut detection, and the time code.
Yeah, so if you ever get completely fucked up with your video, you don't know what you've been doing, and just select all these files, just delete them, open the video, and Spot will ask you for the frame rate, and you can for the time code and shortcuts, you can add them, start fresh. Yeah.
And before doing this, what you can first try is on the next to the. If we can go back to the Spot screen.
Yeah.
Next to the open video thing, you can do delete video format flag. That'll take care of most of the problems. But if even that doesn't work, you can delete those other files manually.
Yeah, that's right. Oops. Okay, well, I think.
Any questions?
Any other questions, guys?
Anything we didn't cover?
Well,
yep.
I have one question in chat. I put it there.
Okay, just a minute. Chat.
I used rich text format files in Notepad, but there the tabs wasn't working.
I'm not sure. Can you?
Maybe I did something wrong. I read it from the chat. Rich text.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I don't see the chat somehow because I don't know why, but because I shared my screen.
But these rich text format files in Notepad.
Yeah.
But there the tabs didn't work with me.
You mean
when I first had this number on the left, the time code on the left.
You mean the
note? Then I pressed tab to start writing the text, but that didn't work. Yes, there.
You mean in Notebook? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Why tab is not working? I really don't know why that's not working.
So it should work.
Yeah. Well, you can ask. You can always ask Mark Reijnen, who is the developer of Spot, to implement it. Is everybody familiar with the Spot support group? Is everybody in there?
Could have something to do with the text files, and because RTF is a rich text format, and it has more options in formatting the file than a normal text file. So and Microsoft even has a different version of normal text files in the system as
right,
mix it up.
Yeah. That's
Try
right.
to use a text file, not an RTF file.
Yeah, keep it simple. My advice.
Yeah. We have to use the rich text format for the Finnish broadcasting company for the voice over texts.
If you don't, suppose if you just use notes. Let me see.
Well, do your thing.
Okay, if you use notes, you can use it.
Yeah. Now I see.
And then you can save it as a text file, but text file is an RTF file. So I think Notebook is also a bit deprecated, and Notes is the new Notebook. So I think this has more features, and you can try and use this. Maybe that will solve the problem.
Even if you work in plain text in Notebook, when you're finished, you save it as text and you open it in Word and save it as an RTF. You're done.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other burning questions? How's the banana?
I was just wondering about the processes that other people use for saving different, to organize their different versions of working files.
Oh, that was your question, yeah.
What exactly do you mean by different versions of working files?
Because well, maybe it's just my process that needs some extra work, but when I do a whole lot of, when I've finished translating several files, then I usually queue them or time them in a group. And when you pick up the files from their separate folders, you easily mix them up when you save them.
Okay.
And that leads to the problem that I may save a file over a file that.
Yeah, that's just a matter of discipline in file naming. But why would you do all these things simultaneously? Why not work on one file at a time, finish it, and then take on the next? I don't understand this simultaneous.
That's what I do, but when Spot saves a file, when I finish with that one, it's very easy to basically save it to the next file to the same folder as before.
Yeah, it has something to do with remembering the folder location. I think it catches a lot of people out. There was a discussion on the Spot forum about that. About the desired behavior of Spot in this way, but I'm not sure what came of it.
But that has nothing to do with file naming. The only way to override a file is if you use the same name. So you just have to be a bit careful, I guess.
Yep, you have to be very careful with it. But I was just wondering if other people have other solutions to that problem.
Well, as an example, I do a lot of regular translation and editing for books, and so what I have on my computer is a folder for that book. And under that folder I have one subfolder for the originals files, for my revision files, for the files I translate, and for the definite files, the final versions. And so that is necessary, because otherwise they get confused. and I name them respectively file name RevLeo or DevLeo or English Leo or Dutch Leo. That's my system to keep things, because you get confused very quickly. So you may decide to have a separate subfolders for things, or adopt a very strict naming convention for your files. That's all I can say.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. Well. Any other questions? Things you run into? Things you want to know? This is your chance, guys. No.
I had
Okay.
in my pre-questions, I had questions about the program crashing when I press 2 keys on the numpad at once. I don't know which ones, but this happens to me like several times a week.
Ah,
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Always the same with every version of the program.
what kind of version of Spot are you using?
Well, now I just downloaded the newest one, but
Yeah.
it's happened before, like all the time.
if you hit 2 keys at the numeric pad at the same time, Spot crashes.
Yeah, I think it's 8 and the slash key or somewhere around there. I don't know what happens, but
I'm just trying it now, but nothing happens.
I'm hitting every key I can think of, 5 at a time.
Is it?
But it's still there.
Do you have an external keyboard, or are you using the keyboard of your laptop? Or?
I'm using the laptop
So
keyboard.
if you try attaching an external keyboard, that could be the solution, because sometimes the codes that are sent by the numeric pad are different, and that fucks things up.
Okay.
It is a Windows laptop. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you're working on an Apple, you get all sorts of other problems. Yeah.
Okay.
I would prefer using an external keyboard anyway, which it's a lot easier, and it's less hard on your wrists and your fingers and your muscles and stuff like that.
I normally work in an armchair with the laptop on my lap.
Oh, really?
It's quite comfortable that way.
That's against union rules.
Okay, well, okay, yeah. Did you have another question?
No, not me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, this is Marco. This is just a simple thing. Forgive me for asking silly things, but when you open a file from the main view, and you open it from you press file and then you open. That's the first thing you do, and then if you open another file, from left over there, file and then open. Now, if you open another file on top of that file, there's no way to. Is there a way to close the file that you, the second file that you opened? Do you understand?
I think Spot can only open 1 file at a time.
Yeah.
So I think
if you let's say that you have saved this. This is Peter's screen now, or if you have saved this file that you can see now, and then you open another file.
Hang on.
Just from if you save this.
Yeah. Open another file.
Yeah. And now if you open another file.
Yeah. Open. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens now is that okay, what happened there? How did you go back to the? How did you go back to the first file?
Well, I just click on this arrow here and selected the file. These are the files you recently opened. So
recently opened. Okay.
Yeah. It's an easy way to go back to a previously opened file.
Yeah, because when you just open a new file, then there's no way to close that particular file. It's just
you can close any file.
You can close a new file.
Yeah.
If you click this, it'll disappear.
Yeah. And how can you go back now? How can you close this empty file that you have over here now.
Well, just
So
file
that the-
close. Peter, go
Well,
to file.
I
Close.
mean-
Is there not a close button?
No, there
No,
isn't.
there's
Oh, there's no
but-
close button.
But why would you
yeah,
want to
that
close?
was because
You don't need
if
a
I'd
close
like to
button
go to the
because Spot will automatically close this one if you open another one.
so the okay, so the Spot closes the previous one automatically.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, so, some subtitling programs allow you to open several files at the same time. So they're either next to each other or on top of each other, like in Swift, which is a very handy feature. So you can copy titles and even time codes from one file to the other. But Spot doesn't allow you to do that. Only what I just showed you in quick view and with the copy
notes.
But you can open two Spot windows so at the same time. So, but it doesn't allow you to copy whole section.
But that's also a good new feature. Well, I remember when I was using Spot 5 or something like that, it didn't allow you to open two.
No, it's true.
But it's okay now.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Anyone else?
Well, then can I quickly ask, we who work for Yle, for the Finnish broadcasting company, we always get these templates in 890, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they already have their file info like ready on the template, and that keeps me from saving it as an SKTL file. Because it's just too useful and too convenient to stay working on the 890 file because of all the info that I need. And my question is, is there a big risk like converting it into an Spot file and then converting it back to an 890?
Well, yeah, I'm not very familiar with H90, but it does have some internal stuff about the file, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does it show in your Spot window if you open an H90 file? Does it show in the first subtitle or?
Yeah, it works. No problem. That's not the problem. It's just that, like you said, it's always useful to work with an SPTX file and then at the end save it in the preferred format. But the problem is we get these templates with the file info ready, so then it's very convenient to just keep on working on the 890 file.
Yeah. Okay. I guess. Yeah.
What you can do is
what you could do is just delete, keep the first title with the info and then append the SPTX file to that.
No, the file info is on a it has its own window. It's not.
Right.
It's not.
Right. Okay.
But have you tried it? Just use an old 890 file you have.
Yeah.
Convert it to save it as a Spot and then save it back and see what happens.
Yeah, we had these big problems with the hyphen turning to dashes or whatever was it earlier. It was fixed earlier already, so it's okay now. But I'm still quite hesitant
Well, this is typically a question that you should ask it on a forum, and because Mark is the only one who
that's what I
think
imagined.
of a solution for this.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really advised. I don't know if all of you are members of the forum.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, because
it's on the website, the spotsoftware.nl website. You can find how you can.
I also put it in the letter.
Okay, you did as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Well, I think we covered most of it. I mean, we could go through the menu again, but I don't think it's really necessary. Unless there's any other questions.
Well, then just a quick question. Where was the enable full undo? Where was it?
Okay, it's in tools.
Tools.
Options.
Options.
And you get the first tab is general, and here near the bottom it says enable full undo.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, if we're done, then I guess we're done, right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Was it so much new information, so much new information. We just have to put it into practice now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go through.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you both.
And if you let us know the link where to find the video, the recording of this, that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that. Yeah.
We'll have to confer with the guys from Spot so they can maybe host it on their website or some. We'll have to ask all of you, you already agreed that we recorded it, but do you also agree that we send it to everyone or to others for educational purposes?
Yes.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Good, because other people may be interested. And we should actually maybe edit it, but we don't have time or budget to do those things. Okay, well, thanks everyone.
I guess that's it.
And pose any questions on the forum. Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.